What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the collection tour. Let's get right into it. This first tarantula, this is the Brachypelma boehmei, or the Mexican fireleg. This particular tarantula was actually generously given to me by my friend Norvis at Norvis 8-Legged Critters. Now, he hasn't done any videos in a couple of years because he's been busy with life, but he does have quite an extensive library of videos going back 3-4 years. Awesome critters, awesome videos, awesome dude. Check him out, Norvis 8-Legged Critters. Okay, so that whole thing over with. The Brachypelma boehmei. This tarantula hails from the Mexican state of Guerrero. It is on the Pacific coast, about south central Mexico. Just to kind of give you an idea of where the state of Guerrero is, its largest city, most of you have probably heard of, is Acapulco. It is quite a popular tourist and resort town, and all of a sudden this guy is spooking on me. They live in dry scrubland, so they don't need any special humidity requirements, anything like that. Like most of your new worlds, especially Phaunopelmas and Brachypelmas, they are pretty slow growing. I got this guy, it was maybe a half-inch spiderling, and that was about a year and a half ago. It's probably an inch and a half, inch and 3/4 now. And one thing to note about the behavior of this particular species over especially all the Brachypelmas, and some other hobbyists will tell you this, but this is just my personal experience, they tend to be more kicky than a lot of the other Brachypelmas, meaning they more readily will kick their urticating hairs at you. This one has chilled out a little bit since the last molt, but it has kicked hairs at me, so just know that. And also, again, they are pretty slow growing, so just be aware of that if you get these guys. And like I said, no special requirements, just some food and a water dish, and they'll be happy. So there we go. That was the first tarantula in this collection tour, the Brachypelma boehmei, the Mexican fireleg. All right, up next is a very stunning tarantula species that I discovered approximately 2.5 years ago. They were pretty new in the hobby then, but they are more frequent or more prominent or more common now. I bought one from Fear Not Tarantulas. Turned out a mature male. I was looking for a mate for it. I found this girl right here. He paired with her. She made a sack. It was no good. He paired with her again. She molted. Then he died. So that's where we're at. This is the Bonitina cyanofemur, or the Mexican blue femur. These guys hail from Manzanilla, Mexico, which is pretty much the same region as the last few Brachypelmas that you've seen kind of on the Pacific coast, about south central Mexico. Pretty similar habitat, similar, keeping requirements. They're a little bit faster growing than the Brachypelmas, but not by much. Temperament-wise, they're pretty chill, so I don't think I've ever had any of my Bonitina cyanofemur kick hairs at me. So they will do a strike or posture every once in a while if you bother them. But if you don't bother them, then you're okay. I got another one of these I'm going to show you, and then we'll move on. This is the Bonitina cyanofemur, the Mexican blue femur. All right, so this next one is being very shy and unphotogenic, but this is the same species, the Bonitina cyanofemur. Look at all those beautiful red hairs all over the body of this tarantula, and then the stunning blue femurs, which you can't really see, kind of a little bit right there you can see. Absolutely stunning spider. This one right here I bought from Fear Not Tarantulas as an unknown species. It was Bonitina, but they didn't know what species. They didn't know whether it was a cyanofemur or a camela. Turned out to be a cyanofemur, and as luck would have it, it turned out female. So there you go. There was my Bonitina cyanofemur, or Mexican blue femurs. So this next gorgeous specimen is my Brachypelma amelia female. This was actually the first tarantula that I bought from a brick and mortar shop. Everything else had come from online and a few expos. She's absolutely stunning. Don't have a name for her yet. I bought her as about a half-inch sling probably 2 years ago, and she's approaching 4 inches now. So a little faster growing than some of the other Brachypelmas. Let me grab my notes here. So the Brachypelma amelia, they hail from the Mexican state of Sinaloa, which is more in the northern part of Mexico. Pretty mountainous, but again, a lot of the same kind of requirements, just on the drier side. They don't need any special humidity requirements or anything like that. Temperament wise, these guys are pretty chill. I may have gotten hairs kicked at me once or twice when it was younger, but I deserved it. But since then, really nothing major. So there we go. That was the Brachypelma amelia, the Mexican redleg. And up next is Elvira, my female Brachypelma hamori, or the Mexican red knee. Now, there's a bit of confusion in the hobby because there are two species that look like this, the Brachypelma hamori and the Brachypelma smithii. Back to my notes again. And these two species are very similar. A lot of the differences are really subtle, but the major thing between these guys is the regions where they live. They are separated by a river. So they are, again, on the Pacific coast of Mexico, around Colima, Jalisco, and Michoacan. Very similar to the Brachypelma boehmei and a lot of the other ones that I've shown you. And the Brachypelma hamori is actually on the north side of the Balsas River. And one of the differences between the two is that with the Brachypelma hamori, they tend to be a little bit smaller, not quite as bright in color, and they have mostly all black on the carapace and on their knees. You can't really see here really well, but right where the femur and the knee meet, there in that first burst of orange, there is a small black triangle, and that differentiates the hamori from the smithii. A lot of the same growth rates and same requirements as a lot of the other ones that I have shown you. These guys can be skittish, but not really bad. They don't bolt. I mean, they make short little bursts, but that's about it. Occasionally you'll get a hair kicked at you, but they're not really bad. They're actually pretty docile tarantula, and stunning as well. So there we go. That was the Brachypelma hamori. Let's move along. And last but not least, we have here the Brachypelma amelia. As you can see there, like I mentioned, there is very little black on the carapace. These guys are not as vibrant as the last one that we saw because they've only really been starting to show their adult colors in the last couple of molts. But I got 6 of these from Fear Not Tarantulas approximately 3 years ago. They weren't as prominent in the hobby. They are more readily available now. But back then, I bought 6 of them, approximately half-inch spiderlings. 2 of them died mysteriously. 1 of them disappeared. Absolutely no way to escape from the enclosure, but I looked all through the enclosure and never found it. So I ended up with 3. This one here is a suspect female, but we're going to need another good molt to determine that. And yes, I realize, just on a side note here, that I did kind of get out of alphabetical order. And also, I did not make a feeding attempt on any of the last ones that we showed because I actually fed them yesterday. But I skipped the feeding for these. So we're going to try to give it a roach and see what happens. All right, so here goes. Let's offer her a roach and see what happens. I absolutely love their feeding responses. They are so awesome. All right, I've got 2 more of these guys to show you, and then we're going to end this video. So let's move along. All right, so here is Brachypelma smithii number 2. Again, you will notice a lack of black color on the carapace there. Let's give it a roach, see if it's hungry. Again, every time. I really, really love their feeding response. So this one is unsexed so far. We're going to need another good molt, and then we can probably sex it. We got 1 less tarantula to do. Let's move on to that one. Here is the very last tarantula for this video, another B. smithii, unsexed. Let's give it a roach, see if it's hungry. Maybe not. Let's wait and see. With these guys, normally, yeah, this one's not hungry because it would not let that roach crawl over its leg. Oh, yeah, I can see now. I saw a flash of light there. This one has a shiny black abdomen, so it is in a pre-molt, so we won't try to feed it. Appreciate you guys watching this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching. God bless.